Hi everyone. Looks like I am live streaming on many platforms. I hope the Odyssey thingy is working. Is it? I don't know. And let's see. I'm gonna have to tweet this out, so just be a little patient while I tweet this out. But Nato decided to do some nuance cooking, and whenever they do nuance cooking, I feel like I have to do a stream. And this was like an impromptu stream to deal with NATO's nuance cooking. So join me, invite friends. I'm on Telegram too. If you can see me, can you see me on Telegram? Oh, you have to. Okay, now I'm on Telegram and you can see and hear me. And yeah, I don't know how this is working, but yeah, Nato is nuance cooking. So let's. Yeah, so let's the fun begin. Wow, we have quite a few people. Okay, so hello, Wade, Pilgrim, and Yipper. And let me see if I can get where. Why do I keep calling him Wade? I know not. I really don't know why I keep calling him the wrong name. Where? It's hot. Whew, no air conditioning in the area. Let's see. So let's just upload the video and yeah, it's just, I mean, I like they literally have their Forest Brothers video and stuff like that. So they're like the biggest. Okay, hold on. Okay, I don't like this view. I like this view better, but now I need to move myself like here. And it looks like the people on Telegram probably are not going to get the NATO video. So I'm going to just hang up because it didn't work. No. Okay, I'm gonna have to end the live stream on Telegram. So join me on one of the other platforms. I can't, and we'll let the fun begin. So where do we start? Oh, please donate via super chat, like, subscribe, make a comment. What else are you supposed to do? Like, subscribe, make a comment, share it, tweet it out, share it with social media, recommend it to friends, families, and enemies. When you have an argument, you can always use me and be like, boo, yeah, you lose the argument. So let's look at what NATO has to say. Okay, and tell me if you can hear it, okay?
Russia continues to spread lots of false myths about NATO. So let us set the record straight. One myth is that NATO is aggressive towards Russia and is trying to encircle it. This is not true. NATO is a defensive alliance. Its purpose is to protect its allies. NATO does not seek confrontation and poses no threat to Russia.
Okay, let's look at what their alleged justification is.
Every sovereign nation has the right to choose its own security arrangements. Russia has subscribed to this fundamental principle. We stay true to it and invite Russia to do the same. Another myth is that NATO...
Okay. The first issue is the word sovereign. Every sovereign nation does have a right to seek its own security arrangement. Okay, so they said a lot of things. Yes, and you're Croatian, so you should know what lying liars they are. They bombed Yugoslavia. So, of course, that was very aggressive. And they also bombed Libya and Afghanistan, none of that, Syria maybe. And yeah, those are just off the top of my head I can think of. But NATO was actually created to basically, okay, right after World War II, every party that wasn't the Communist Party collaborated with the fascists, and people were not happy with any of the parties that were not Communist Party. And NATO was actually was created to stop democracy. They allowed West Germany to rearm, even though the person in charge of West Germany was Konrad Adenauer, who was like BFFs with Hitler. He's even written like love letters to Hitler. I could not. Just look at historically that Substack.com where we talk about the anti-fascist wall. He's like written love letters to Hitler. And then there's Hitler's right-hand man, Adolf Heusinger, who was, even in 1950, he was like denying that he was ever involved in a plot to assassinate the Fuhrer in 1950. He was the first security chief of staff or something like that with NATO. So they let West Germany arm. Then they had a whole bunch of colonizers like England, USA, I don't know, whatever the original members are, come together. And basically it was to stop decolonizing. So, and the threat to one was a threat to all. And yeah, colonizers should not be allowed to form agreements, especially and back then they all had colonies. England, Belgium, France, and West Germany. Let's not even get... Yeah, of course, NATO attacked Libya. They bombed Libya because of... I actually don't know what their reason was. Al Qaeda, but the real reason was they wanted to stop the only... Libya was like the only direct democracy in the world. So yeah. So the existence of NATO itself is aggressive. I mean, what, like Turkey? Turkey. I mean, just these are colonizers. So, for example, if India decided to use the armed struggle to get independence, would India have been seen as a threat to Britain? Yeah, of course. And they would have bombed the crap out of it. So that's and of course, their primary thing was to basically prevent democracy from happening in Western Europe. And so they literally exist against and the fact that they say sovereign nation. Is Lithuania sovereign? No. The US kind of went in and did a coup, and they have this like literal family whose name is landed bourgeoisie, Landbergis family in charge. So yeah, all these nations are not sovereign, and it's when you put up like a puppet who then signs on to be part of this war machine. It is aggressive. And none of these nations are sovereign. I'm not sure if it was NATO or Nazis, but is there a distinction without a difference? Yes, droned Yemen, Syria, and those are not even close to Europe. So yeah, and none of, like I said, they're not sovereign nations. So there goes the first lie. Not okay. So now let's look at what the second myth is.
The same. Another myth is that NATO promised Russia it would not expand after the Cold War.
James Baker, okay, this is just going to be nuance cooking. NATO technically didn't promise, but James Baker did, and the leader of West Germany at that time did. Like James Baker literally said, "We will not expand a single inch," and in fact, becoming one Germany counts as expanding more than an inch, and Poland is bigger than an inch. Then they expanded to Romania, all the Balkans. Baltics. Sorry, not Balkans. Baltics, Estonia, and all the others. And now they have their designs on Ukraine. So this is complete nuance cooking. James Baker was the Secretary of State of the United States at that time. And the reason why Gorbachev thought that was good as NATO is because NATO is not filled with sovereign nations, and they always do what the US wants. But yeah, they did promise not to expand 1 inch. And if you go to, if you hit Google expand 1 inch, like at George Washington, there's something like called National Security at George Washington University. They have the archives. They have that document where they say that he promised not to expand 1 inch. And these are thousands of miles and not 1 inch. So that's a lie. And yes, this is nuance cooking here, because technically NATO didn't promise, but this is a distinction without a difference. That's why they didn't say NATO member states didn't promise. That's the nuance cook, is the difference between NATO as an entity and the member states, and many, many, many member states promised that.
No such agreement was ever concluded.
No such agreement was ever concluded. That's another nuance cook. Because you can even have an agreement with NATO unless you're a member state. Concluded. Okay.
NATO's door has been open to new members since it was founded in 1949.
Yes, NATO's doors has been open to new members since it's been founded in 1949, and that is the problem. Because the only way people agree to be part of NATO is if you have a coup, like you did in Poland with Solidarność, or Latvia, or Lithuania, or Romania. For Romania, you should watch. They even had like in Romania they had a really creepy, like it was in 1989 when they overthrew the government. They had like an event that was very similar to Maidan. Thousands of people died. It was very confusing. Yeah, and it was definitely a coup. So yes, because no country where the will of the people matters will ever agree to be part of this insanity. Because all you have to do is go ask people, do you want your son to go and die for an inch of Latvia? And coup d'etat, yes. What does the word coup mean just without the d'état? Coup of the state, yeah. And everyone is going to say, no, of course not. Are you crazy? And there goes the NATO membership for any country that takes the will of the people into account. So, yeah.
And this has never changed. This open door policy is also enshrined in Article 10 of NATO's founding treaty. Decisions about membership are taken by consensus among all allies.
Yes. And that's basically Britain, US, and France, and then they coup people, and then they have coup d'etats, and then they have puppet governments who then agree to be part of NATO. And even in Italy, there's like, recently I've seen big protests against NATO.
No treaty signed by the United States, Europe, and Russia includes provisions regarding NATO membership.
This is complete nuance cooking. That is correct. But again, do you want to ignite world? Article 5 means if one of these stupid nations, like Macedonia, Moldova, oh my God, Transnistria, like, are you sure you want to start World War III over this little strip of land where, like, people who call them, like, Transnistria declared separate, their like own separate country, but Moldova still kind of, do you really want to start World War III over in Transnistria? And yeah, we're going to say, most people will want to say no, but Article 5 means everyone goes in and provides mutual defense. So you are, by nature of having all these countries in NATO, going to be starting a world war, no matter what. So, and yeah, do you want your, yeah, so correct, technically. But NATO shouldn't exist if the Warsaw Treaty doesn't exist. I mean, they should have dismembered back then. Why are they here?
The myths need to be dismantled. The record needs to be set straight.
Okay. Oh yeah, if you go to NATO's website right now, you get to see a movie called Forest Brothers, which is an homage to the Baltic, the Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania SS. Okay, so this was a fairly straightforward, lots of nuance cookery. I don't know what else to say. Ukraine won, like, Poroshenko tried to, I don't know if he succeeded or not, but he tried to put this provision of like NATO membership in the constitution. So it's like saying, I declare war with Russia in your constitution as a country. It's just crazy. And whatever nuance they want to create, even if everything they say is not nuance cooking and is actually in good faith, ultimately, do you want to start a war over Transnistria or or whatever little bland, I don't know, some stupid part of Estonia, Malmo, Sweden? No, none of us do. And having such a crazy organization is a disaster. I mean, look at all the NATO members who looked at Ukraine, Russia's imminent invasion of Ukraine and thought, hey, we can just like flood a lot of weapons and then magically Russia's gonna lose. And all these heads of these states thought about that and didn't think it was the dumbest idea. So this was actually a short video to debunk. So if you have any questions, I'll stay here as long as people have questions and or people super chat. If I get bored and hot and people are not asking questions or super chatting, I'm going to leave. So somebody better ask a question soon. Hello, Petamilo. Okay. Oh yeah, I saw that NATO diversity ad. It was weird. Of course there is. We did an entire 2 episodes about Gladio on Historically. Let's see. Yeah, we did 2 episodes about it. There's tons of evidence, like, admitted by all the national security agencies. So I put the link. Listen to both parts. Yeah, there's Привет, очень хорошо, вы русский? Oh, you're wondering if there's a current version of Gladio that's going on somewhere in the world. Maybe. I don't know. Okay. Do you have any good books to read on economics? Let's see. The first one is, of course, Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism by Lenin. That's absolutely you must. Then there is Samir Amin's World Systems Theory. That's another must. I also like Django Sala's Africa's Last Colonial Currency. That's really enlightening. Let's see. Those are the ones that. Mark Blight's Austerity, History of a Dangerous Idea. That's also a really good one. Those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. I'll let you know if I can think of anything else on top of it. But these are the ones that I can absolutely. I've read them and I know from the top of my head, and I can recommend them. Что вы делаете? Okay. Let's see. Samir Amin's World Systems Theory. I think it's Samir Amin. If you go to the Anti-Imperialist Network, they have a link to all these free books. Is very important because it teaches you about what the IMF does, what the World Bank does, how the Western countries kind of keep Africa deindustrialized. I mean, they would do that to Australia one day too. But yeah, there's a lot of that. Let's see. Any other questions? Because I don't have anything to say. And Matt is not joining me at the moment. So let's see. Do we have anything else to say? Be sure to hit like and subscribe and the bell. And okay. In that case, did I have anything else to say? Let me think. No, I don't. Okay. Well, Slobodu Narodu Smrti Fascismo, and we'll figure out about the times and the streams and being more regular and figuring out how to be on all platforms. Well, Okay, this is actually a good question. The way the UN Security Council works is that if one of the 5 members veto it, it's all vetoed. Hey, 20 too many. So we'll have to look at what the resolution looks like. Is it, and if it's if it is looks like if like one member can veto the occupation, then maybe not. But if one member can't veto them, namely it's usually Russia or China is that one member, then yeah. So I guess that's all I have to say. Oh, Ricky Martin, if. Okay, if. Yeah, just look this up. Oh, and Elon Musk's dead. Ew. Really gross. But with well, I would say that America has to unilaterally disarm. Otherwise, every other nation, I would counsel every other nation to get nukes. I mean, if the lesson to be learned from Libya is get nukes as quickly as possible. Yeah, and so like I don't understand why any nation would not get nukes. So yeah, I mean we're not at the point of no. Well, as long as, like I said, NATO kind of U.S., UK, France exist with nukes, every other nation should get nukes, and there's really nothing about it. Like, so there is not going. I mean, there's no point in having any conversation, and every nation should probably just work as hard as possible to get nuked as quickly as possible. Yeah, giving up your nukes is not a good idea. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so with that, I'm going to say Slobodu narodu, smrti fašizmu.